welcome to the latest episode of Real Talk. On this week's episode, musician, digital creator, writer, and the one person responsible for ensuring that this show airs every week on Spotify, Amazon Music, Audible, Apple Music, and iHeartRadio, Rob Bull discussed the life and career of the worst and perhaps the best director of all time, Edward D. Wood. With movies such as Glen or Glenda, Jailbait, Bride of the Monster, Night of the Ghouls, and the all-time classic, Plan 9 from Outer Space, he was recognized as the worst director of all time by film critic Michael Medved and his brother Harry Medved back in 1980. But what makes him one of my best directors is his fearlessness and his passion to create what he thought was art regardless of what anyone else thought or said. When the studios refused to fund his projects, that didn't stop him. That never deterred him. He raised his own money to complete his vision. So without further ado, Rob, what is your opinion of the king of cult B movie classics?
Well, first of all, you are the greatest hype man ever. And it's always said on the show because I upload the episodes. That is your that's not your only gift, but that is like it's people that are used to that don't understand how unique that is. So I appreciate that every time, every time you talk about somebody, and especially when you talk about me, I'm like, man, I want to meet that Rob Bull. He sounds like a stand-up guy. He sounds like, and then I'm like, oh wait, that's me. But
I
yes,
I know him
so
very well. You got to meet him. He's a great guy. The hype is real. The
it
hype
must
is
be the
real.
way you talk. But no, thank you. I appreciate that. Now, Ed Wood, I love that you said the fearlessness, because that is what attracts me so much to this movie. And you will know, you're coming into this. I'm the Twilight Zone guy.
Yep.
I feel like I love this movie, but I've never seen an Ed Wood movie. So this is my exposure. And I'll tell you this: I watched it. I first watched it about 8 months ago.
Hmm.
I This was the movie I not only like constantly rewatched it, it became a comfort movie. It became a comfort movie.
Yeah.
I would watch it and then also watch it when I was falling asleep. You know me, Rich. I am an obsessive
Yeah.
person, and I fell into this movie so deep because the fearlessness of his character, of the Ed Wood character, and his ability to kind of, it's almost, I don't want to say idiot savant, but it's not, and I don't want to just say idiot because he wasn't a savant, but he wasn't an idiot. He had a dream, he had a goal, and in a weird twist of irony, he achieved that goal.
Exactly.
And that, me, I love that kind of irony where it's like the people that never think they're going to be nothing,
Mm.
it turned out to be some of the most influential people, because he inspired people like David Lynch, right? It's one of those weird things where I haven't seen any of his movies, but I found out a lot about the man.
Yeah.
And I love it. It's a great movie, great, great, great character.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about, I'm sure everybody knows we're talking about the Tim Burton movie with starring Johnny Depp, Martin Landau, Vincent D'Onofrio. So many great people in that movie. I mean, Vincent D'Onofrio plays Orson Welles. Obviously, Johnny Depp plays Ed Wood, and Oscar winner Martin Landau does a superb job of playing the great Bela Lugosi.
I'm
He
gonna be
was
that guy.
spot on.
He was.
Yeah.
I said I'm gonna be that guy at the Twilight Zone alumni too. He
Yeah.
was in. He played. I forgot. I don't know, maybe it was Charlie or something. He was like a Western bully in the episode Mr. Denton on Doomsday.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, I haven't seen
Yeah,
that one. Obviously. Yep.
I was like, who is it? Like Martin Landau, because I was watching what exposed me to the movie. Actually, was I watched this YouTube channel called Red Letter Media,
Hmm.
and I love, like they're just as obsessive, more so, I would say, even than I am about cinema. These are, but they didn't like. They decided to make videos like kind of like it's all it's kind of like this. It's lighthearted, funny, or
Yeah.
whatever. Like you just like there is an air of comedy to it. And I had saw this one, and I was like, huh, because there was a picture of Ed Wood, the cover, which actually I was at a thrift shop not too long ago, and I saw a copy of it, in the book section, but it didn't have the DVD, and I bought it anyways because I I I, I wanted the paper on the inside. It had one of those like kind of like cut out, and DVDs and stuff don't have that nowadays. But yes, I sorry, you know me, I drift. But yes, no, I so I was like I highly respect these Red Letter Media guys views on movies, and I'd watched just a little bit of it, and it one of the guys said that this was one of his favorite movies and a big inspiration on what he did. So I stopped it, and then I didn't watch that video. I didn't finish watching it until I watched Ed Wood probably a year later.
What year
Um,
was this? So
when
when you saw Ed Wood for the first time, what year was it? It was very
oh,
recently.
it was no, I think it was I yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It was about it was within, man, I want to say 8 months, but it was probably more like six. It was probably, yeah, like right at the end of 2024,
Yeah.
2025.
Yeah.
Um,
For me, I saw it in the theaters because I knew of Ed
oh,
Wood, but I really never knew exactly what he did. And obviously, the movie isn't all accurate, but I did some
no,
background, some
no,
research.
yeah.
There's a lot of it's very accurate, but compared
It's,
to a lot of other biopics. But I mean, there's some things like he didn't meet Bela Lugosi in a room sitting in a coffin, like he
yeah, Bela Lugosi casket shopping.
yeah, which I love that. I mean, it makes a great scene. But they did actually meet. It was through a friend, and they became friends. And I love the fact, like, well, I'll talk about that after. I want to talk about like, 'cause my introduction was seeing because I like Tim Burton movies. Let me check the movie out. And then after that, I started getting into Ed Wood movies, and I have somewhere, I don't know if I still have it, but it was a double VHS collection of Glen or Glenda and Plan 9 from Outer Space. I have that on beta, or sorry, not beta. I don't go that far back. It was on VHS. But I started watching his movies and Bride of the Atom, which became Bride of the Monster, and I didn't see all of them. I never saw Jailbait, which was his second movie, which starred who's the one? It's either Steve Reeves or George Reeves. He played the original Superman. Was it Steve Reeves?
No, no, I think it was
George.
George.
Okay, so yeah,
Yeah.
George Reeves. So that movie stars George Reeves, which I never saw, but I was doing my research on this, getting ready for this show, and so he I became a fan of Ed Wood through that. And I think one of the best things that could have ever happened to him was that 1980 worst director of all time because that got people's attention. Like, I gotta check this out. Who is this guy? Is he really
Yes.
that bad? And then for me, I always say this: there's always a fan of something. So doesn't matter if nobody's always hating. I'll give you an example. Jaws 4 to me is one of the worst movies ever. Jaws: The Revenge, and I made that comment. So,
Yeah.
and this, I'm not even kidding. About maybe 3 or 4 weeks later, this girl goes, "You know what my favorite Jaws is? It's that one where the shark follows them from Amity to the Bahamas." I said, "Oh my god, please!" And she was dead serious. I thought I was waiting for the joke, and there was no joke. I was waiting for the punch. So
Right, right. Oh man, that's got to be such an awkward moment.
oh
But
no,
but also,
it was
but
a fight. I laughed. I laughed very loudly.
absolutely, absolutely.
But the reason I bring that up was like I think that brought attention to maybe he would have been if nobody ever said anything about him being the worst director of all time. Maybe he would have been forgotten about. Nobody would have checked his movies out. But this brought a whole new audience, and for people like me and you who love the fact that, especially I mean, you saw the Ed Wood movie, so you know Glenn or Glenda what it's about. Like
Yes.
he liked to dress in women's clothes, and
Yeah. And this is
back then
1950.
that I mean now nobody would even blink at it, but back then that was a
Yeah.
huge taboo. But he had the guts to do it, and not only do it, but also put it in the movie and dress as that character in the movie. So
And right, like, and that like that's one of like to me like that's more that is much more fearless than failing at being a director or a creator. Well, it's like in a way it's the combination of both,
yeah,
but it's more like like that's also why I feel like if you had taken that out of the picture of the story of Ed Wood, it's like it wouldn't be Ed Wood
Yeah.
as well. It's like that makes him so unique, and it makes it every single person is unique, and I feel like you should strive to be unique. Don't try to fit in. Don't try to do,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Don't try to adhere to what people around you what they want you to be. Let your life and learn who you are. Learn who you are and follow that, because that to me is one of the most freeing things,
Hmm.
is being different, knowing you're different, and maybe it's like one of those things where people can get narcissistic about it or whatever. So
Yeah.
it's you don't want to go too far, but just be you.
Yeah.
Feel comfortable in your skin, and don't if there's something that somebody's trying to make you do or be, then unless it's illegal, or you know what I mean, or unless it's a danger to somebody, which this wasn't,
No.
um and it's not, be you and
Exactly.
strive, it's weird, and I'm not saying that the cross dressing is weird, although it's maybe seen to be. But I am a very open minded person, and I feel like as a society we've grown to
Yep.
like a guy wearing women's clothes is not.
Oh, yeah.
We have much bigger problems than that. Much bigger.
Exactly. Yeah.
So um, it's you just gotta be you, fight through that, fight through, and it's not bad to lose people that don't want you to be who you are, and I feel like that was a part of Ed Wood's life too. Like, he was married a lot,
Oh, yeah.
married, remarried. You go through friends and directors and stuff. In the movie, I love the scene where uh, Gas Man from Dumb and Dumber,
No, yeah.
hey man, I wish this was your movie. I've lost a minute out of this dump. Hey, you can't say that about my movie. And like to for a person like me, if somebody was to like, if I had taken somebody's money and like, I mean, I'm not saying he took his money or whatever, there was a mutual agreement or whatever, but if I had created something for somebody and that's how they reacted to what I made, I there would be no plan 9 from outer you know
Yeah.
what I mean? I'd be like, oh man. And so I got to follow my own advice too. But that's one of the main reasons why I love this movie.
Yeah.
It's an underdog story,
Yeah.
and unfortunately, he didn't get to see his recognition or whatever. But his life and his goals weren't meaningless.
No, exactly. And that's why I loved him, as I mentioned it in the intro, is when the studio said, "There's no way we're gonna put this shit out." He goes, "All right, I'm gonna make it on my own. I'm gonna make. I'm gonna raise money." And I love the fact that he did do that, and no, nothing would stop him. And I want to go back to his friendship with Bela Lugosi, because with Plan 9 from Outer Space, like they had all this stock footage, and he's like, "What are we gonna do with this? Let's build the movie around that." So they had that one scene as you see him where he's looking at the flowers, which is real because I saw the real part of that movie, and it just like took the stock footage of the army come in. He was watching all this footage. He goes, "All right, this is the army's gonna get this," and like he had this whole story planned around
Yes, which
that.
I thought that was genius, and that's why it's like, and that's like something I could picture. Like I love that he worked at the studios.
Yeah,
He followed that life, and that scene in particular when he goes and he sees the old guy who's running the stock footage type stuff,
yeah,
um, and he sees all he just sees these little clips of stock footage, and then he gets this idea of using that and incorporating it. It's very ingenious. It's um, I can't think of the word I'm actually thinking of, but it's just that is a testament to I think there was a something to him. There was a genius. There was an artist, a true artist within inside of him, and
yeah.
I love that.
Well, he was a screenwriter for a while before he started doing his own movies. He wrote,
Okay.
yeah. So I like the fact that like we need a script within 3 days. All right, done. And he would just come up with the script no matter what.
Yeah, like, yeah, and that too, where he just like just done. One draft, one take, one draft. Just get it out there. And oh man, yeah, the scenes where they're like, when he's shooting footage for, I think, uh Glenn or Glenda
Yeah,
and Nine from Outer Space, and people are like, you're gonna do a second take, right? And Johnny Depp's, the way he portrays him too, he wasn't, I from what I hear, he wasn't like really like that. So that's one of the Hollywood kind of, which I love though. He's like,
yeah.
"Oh, it's perfect. Let's move on." What?
Yeah,
When
no, I've seen interviews with Ed Wood, the real Ed Wood, and yeah, he did. But I think Johnny Depp
Oh,
got
was he?
the
Was he actually like? Did he speak like that?
no, he didn't. I think his voice was a little
Okay.
deeper, but he did. I mean, Johnny Depp, I think, had the essence of the.
Yes, yes, and that's, yeah, and that's what I felt. I did watch clips of movies and things like that, and I've watched documentaries and things like that on them too. So,
Yeah,
it but they didn't have much of him like speaking. So that was one thing I wasn't completely sure about.
yeah.
Uh,
Well, that's what I wanted to talk. Go back to the Bella because I luckily I had a chance to meet Bela Jr. and I had a chance to meet Martin Landau, so I got a chance to talk to both of them. Martin Landau was the nicest person in the world. The picture will be, maybe it'll be shown as we're talking about it right now, or it'll be shown sometime during the interview. But when I met Bela, it was right after the movie came out. So what'd you think, Edward? The movie's full of shit. None of it's true. And I was like, wow. I mean, he is so adamant. And I understand he's protecting his father, and he thinks that he
yes, yeah.
thinks that Ed Wood took advantage of him. I see it exactly the opposite. Ed Wood grew up watching Dracula, watching all the Bela movies, White Zombie, all those great movies that Bela was in, and he was such a huge fan that he gave him a second chance when nobody else would, because at that time he was an addict, he was in so much pain, he started taking pills, and he started doing heroin and all these different drugs, and nobody wanted to hire him. Like, oh, I mean, it really did happen. I was like, oh, I thought he was dead. I thought he was dead. I mean, his career was dead, and then Ed Wood said, come on, be in one of my movies. And I love the fact that they became friends, and he gave him a second chance. So I don't think
Yeah.
he was taking advantage of him at all. I think he was just a huge fan of him, and he thought that Bela should be the biggest star in the world, like he was, and he wanted to get him back to where his prime. So I was kind of taken back that he was so upset with the movie, how it portrayed. I mean, I know he doesn't want to see his father as a drug addict, but unfortunately, it was true. He was a drug addict.
Yes, yes. No, and yeah, it's one of those things where, like, me as a who I am, I like that. I like the humanity and things. It's like I don't like that people are driven and have it come through circumstances in their life where they become addicts or whatever. But it's it's really good not to hide from that. But I understand where he's coming from, and I'm glad you brought that up, because I was going to bring that up too. I mean, I didn't talk to
Bela Jr.
yeah. I obviously, that's amazing, man.
Yeah.
That is like, oh, that is incredible. And but I had heard that he was like, he really like thought Ed Wood, the movie Ed Wood, did his father dirty. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I really respect, like, I wasn't that huge on Bela Lugosi before, but after watching Ed Wood,
Oh yeah.
I became obsessed with him. I was watching a whole bunch of documentaries. I got the like I just and Dracula too
Hmm.
on repeat, and I was like, because for me, like, I grew up around addicts. I was and am an addict, and so I kind of, and an artist. It's one of those things, like, unfortunately sometimes they go hand in hand. Um, so it's one of those things where it humanized, and it was something I could really relate to on a baseline frequency, a different frequency with Bella, and the way he embodied Dracula, the way he loved that character so much.
Hmm.
He would prepare, um just walking around as Dracula, on set. Not Martin Landau, but I'm talking about
Yeah. Bela.
Bela Lugosi.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I love that kind of stuff. I mean, you've seen my Edgar character.
Oh yeah.
He's very much inspired by the classic Universal Gothic
Yeah.
horror but with a comedic, um, me like my type of style things
Yeah.
added to it. The um, self-deprecating humor, and just humor in general. But like that is so that's what I love, and I feel like that's where I'm headed. Like, and Edgar's coming back. He's making a big comeback.
Wait.
It's been the summer, so wearing that cloak is a no go up in my house because we have no insulation downstairs, and the insulation upstairs where my room is way too good. So it's like I can't even have the AC off or whatever. And I like to have the AC off to get like the best audio. But yeah, he's making a big comeback, and Bella and Edward and all those people, they have a huge inspiration. I was watching when I was making all those Edgar videos, that's when I was watching Edward consistently.
Mm.
Um, trying to get that flair,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that was my father's favorite, like all the Universal monsters when he was a kid. So when we were kids, my brothers and I, we would watch all the Universal movies, all the different horror movies growing up. So I grew up on the Universal monsters,
Yeah,
watching the Wolfman, watching Frankenstein, watching
me
Dracula,
too.
watching Creature from the Black Lagoon, all
Yep.
those. So I grew
Abbott
up.
and Costello meet
Yeah.
Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Yep, yep,
Yeah.
yep. Yeah, like, and that was a big thing for me too. Even though, like, I know we're different generations. Are you Gen X or
I
the
don't know.
silent?
I'm 57, so I'm not sure what that means.
I think you might be like the. I'm not sure, but I think it might be Gen X or something around like my mom's, because I think my mom is like 52, 53. Don't tell her I said that. Oh, okay. Um,
Don't worry, Mom. When you're watching
she's
this later, it's only between the three of
she's
us.
she's 20 and she'll always be 20.
Yeah. Well, she looks 20.
But yes, and so, but and growing up, my stepdad always had
Yeah.
we like horror and cinema in general was such a huge part of how we bonded
Mhm.
as a family. So the Universal horror monsters were one of my first exposures to the horror genre in general. So I think like Frankenstein, I want to say, but we watched Frankenstein, Dracula, um, the Wolfman, the Abbott and Costellos, and many more. Then got into like the real '80s type Friday the 13th and Nightmare
Yeah.
on Elm Street. But yeah, like those, they have such they're a comfort to me. Like I don't know, I find comfort in this stuff. I don't know why. Maybe it's I feel like I can deeply, and most people can deeply relate to the monsters.
Yeah.
We've all felt like outsiders. We've all felt um like outsiders and like monsters from time to time. Maybe not like
Yeah.
evil monsters or whatever, but just that kind of, and especially Boris Karloff. He was better at more conveying that, where Bela Lugosi was his intensity, his and this seductiveness, and it still comes out. Like Martin Landau's performance in this movie
Yeah.
is so good. Like when they're sitting on the couch and they're watching Vampira, and he's like, yes, uh, and it's he like in those scenes, it's like it is Bela Lugosi. Martin Landau,
Yeah.
he, he deserves that Oscar. Did he win the Oscar for
He
Ed
did.
Wood?
He did.
He did.
Yep. That was
Well,
funny because that was the Oscar ceremony. I don't
absolutely.
know if you remember this. You look it up on YouTube. They cut him off. He's over there talking. All of a sudden, the music
Ah,
starts. Like, come on, give the guy a break.
the
Probably the
yeah,
last Oscar he'll have a chance to win because he was
yeah.
even then he was like up there. But he's done so many great movies. But yeah, so he did win for that. And what's funny about that is I'm glad you mentioned that because I did have a chance to interview Boris Karloff's daughter Sarah. She is hilarious. People after you watching done watching the show, watch that one. And then I did interview Victoria Price, which is Vincent Price's daughter. So we were talking about Boris Karloff, Bela Lugosi. The only one I didn't interview because I didn't have a show then was Bela Jr. But that is true. Bela was offered Frankenstein and he turned down. He goes, "No, but he has no lines. He just grunts. I don't want to play that. Stupid. And he actually did feel really jealous that Boris Karloff became so popular with that job that's so easy. It's like anybody could play Frankenstein. That part is
It's
real.
all grunting.
Grunt, yes.
Hey, yeah, the scene where one of the set members just comes up to Bella while they're
Oh
on the
yeah,
set for Glenn or Glenda, right?
yeah.
And he comes up and he's like, "Oh, Mr. Lugosi, oh, you're on. Can I have your autograph?" And he's like, "Oh, yes." And he's like, he's like flattered. Bela Lugosi's like flattered, and he's like, "Oh, yes, of course." And he's signing it, and then the guy's like, "I loved you in I forgot the movie.
I forgot the movie, but he goes, "I love you" as Boris
I
Karloff's sidekick.
love Boris, and he he doesn't deserve to smell my shit, or like I forgot the exact lines of it.
Yeah.
Karl, Karloff, sidekick. He doesn't deserve to smell my shit, and he just freaks out. Yeah, like that was hilarious, and it's one of those things where I've heard conflicting things where like it like obviously I feel like or at least I had heard that was a little dramatized. It
I'm
was
sure it was.
more like, but yeah, I can actually understand though being like it felt like Boris one, like he had the more fulfilling career, I guess, like towards the end,
Yeah.
where obviously Bella was deeply struggling, and but man, like I the documentaries and things I had watched, I haven't watched it yet, but I did buy it. I have it. I bought The Raven because
That's a
like
great movie.
I know, and I'm so excited
I,
to fully watch it because I saw scenes from it, and I'm like, oh man, like Bella Lugosi in that, like for like I was like, oh, the Boris Karloff, he's amazing, and
yeah.
he is. Don't get me wrong, but I I didn't I guess I didn't try to get on the wavelength of Bella before. Like I guess I just didn't see that his intensity and his charisma and the way he was able to just put himself into the character and become these very just intense and sometimes psychotic, sometimes seductive characters. That he
Yeah.
was an amazing character actor, and I feel shameful that I was even like, and I never hated Bela Lugosi. I never hated Dracula.
Yeah.
It was one of those things where I was more of, I guess, a Frankenstein guy, and then, but this movie completely changed my view on that. Where I still now I'm like, now I want both. I want, you know what I mean. I like I love like they are both equal to me, but different. You know
Oh,
what I mean?
exactly. And they both, you know what's so, in personality wise, they were so different too. There's an example, I have to look up the new name of the movie, but there's a movie with Vincent Price, Peter Lorre, and Boris Karloff.
Oof.
It's a great movie. And written by Richard Matheson. It's hilarious. You got to check it out.
Really, it's
I'll,
hilarious.
yeah,
Okay,
I'll get the name of it before we
I
start.
will.
I
Yes, I'll
watched it
definitely.
again when I was doing the interview. But the reason I'm bringing this up was that Boris was a very, very serious actor, and Peter Lorre loved to do improv. Vincent Price was somewhere in the middle. He liked to have fun, but he also liked to, tell
Yeah,
lines.
yeah.
So Boris Karloff would say, told the director, "I really don't want him doing any more improv. I can't work with that." And Vincent Price is like, "Come on, lighten up a little bit." And then he told Peter Lorre, "Go with the line." So Vincent Price was more in the middle, saying, trying to get them both together. But the
Oh
movie is great.
man.
Like I said, it's three great actors. Great. I mean, Richard Matheson, we all know, like Twilight Zone, and plus all the other movies,
Mhm.
like
I
Duel,
am
Dreams May
Legend.
Come, I Am Legend. The guy is,
Mhm.
he's one of the best writers out there. And
One of
so,
the most prolific. Yeah.
exactly.
And,
So I'm gonna look it up right now. Let's see. So it's Boris
yeah,
Karloff. And,
man. I want to see a movie based on this movie. I want to see I love movies, shows, and stories about
me too.
film.
I love behind this. I love like
I
what
love it.
and that's why I said what you said was perfect. He goes when talking about like Bela Lugosi and all the trouble. I don't like movies that sugarcoat it. I like realism.
Yes.
I like humans. I mean, everybody goes through hell once in a while. Nobody has a perfect life. So when you see it on the screen, somebody and say, you know what, this sometimes. I mean, I can never relate to the drug issue, but you can relate to
Mhm.
like feeling down, or can relate, and you're like, it's real, and he's human. Not everybody has a great day all the time, and the fact that he humanized Bela Lugosi and what he was going through, it made the movie so much better. So I love the fact.
No, exactly. And a person like you, man, like I don't even think heroin would work on you, honestly, because man, the energy you got, man, that's insane. And luckily, I was never into that. I was never into hard things. I was never into basically anything you get off the street or whatever. But it's once you know that you have like an addictive personality, um, you got to keep that in check.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's hard but easier said than done. Especially when you go down the route of uh, opiates or anything that it's like it gives you a physical
Hmm.
horrible feeling, when you have to kick it or when you don't have it.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't know from personal experience with that stuff either. I don't like the feeling of that stuff. Um, it makes my skin itch, and but I feel blessed that I don't, because I know my personality. I try to just stay addicted to art, some ganja, and a couple drinks now and then. Um,
Yeah, well, they always say the best thing for like, there's he's a musician. If you ever heard of the punk band the Cro-Mags, he's the lead singer of the Cro-Mags. His name is John Joseph,
yes.
and he went through hell growing up. He was a drug addict. He was in jail, and he completely changed his life around. Now he does the Iron Man. He's a motivational speaker, and he said the best thing to do is exactly what you're saying. He goes, stay busy being creative. He goes, then you'll realize that that's so much more of a high than wasting time getting drunk, getting stoned, doing that and just sitting there, and then you feel so much better after you're done. You're like, wow, I just spent 5 hours. I created this great content, and it's so that I love the fact that you can relate to both, and you use the creative energy to overcome the addictions that you had.
Yeah, because and that's where I feel so lucky that I was able, and I do like addicts that are open about it or whatever, and if we have conversations, and people that aren't addicts, honestly, I always say like find, create or like find something. There is something for everyone that gives them that what you're meant to be type purpose fulfillment high, for
Hmm.
for lack of better words. And it is, you don't get, you sleep better than you ever have.
Hmm.
You feel you're nicer to the people around you. You're more loving or whatever. And I think that's what a lot of what stuff going on today is, that people are not fulfilled. They are entertained, they are distracted or whatever, but they are not fulfilled. And I know personally, maybe it's not this way for everybody, but I feel like it is. When I know, I'm self-aware enough to know, I'm like, I haven't done something in a while. I'm feeling fearful. I'm feeling irritated. I'm feeling, my fuse is shorter.
Hmm.
Um, but then when I do something, even if it's writing, something that is just gets you towards that path of actual fulfillment, that is the most freeing thing.
Yeah.
And that is it's the best high.
Yeah.
It's the best high.
I did.
Coming
I
from a
agree
drug
with you, and I love that. And it's hopefully people, just like we were talking about with people watching Ed Wood, the movie, that might be inspired by that to say, I want to get with it. So hopefully people watching this who might be having issues can listen to you and say, you know what, Rob, I really do appreciate you talking about it and being so honest on the show, and they realize that they're not alone.
And that's why I love movies like this, because like it does make me nervous to be honest, to be open or whatever. But that's also one of those things that is fulfilling too, of when you do it and you realize that it's not the end of the world to be honest about things that are how you perceive to be negative or to be
Yeah.
people would judge you for, because a lot of people will judge you. People are going to judge you for the things
Yeah.
that you have out that you're comfortable with
Yeah.
sharing. You know what I mean? Like that you're comfortable with sharing or whatever. So it doesn't matter. Be open, be honest, be who you are. Be
Exactly.
who you are.
No, you know what? I'm glad you said, because I always say this, and this is what I always make this joke. I said, if you like, no, so if you don't like me, get out of the way. If you do, come along for the ride. We're gonna have a great time because, especially like all the things I've done, which started with heavy metal bands, being a singer, author, stand-up comedian, motivational speaker, now the radio show. I'm always gonna have people that love it, people that hate it. And the people that hate it, I can really care less. And I know what I like, and like somebody told me when I was doing comedy, oh, you should become more generic, and then you can maybe get more show. I was like, no. I said, I know what I do is funny. I think I'm funny, and I'd rather have that small rabid audience instead of people going, remember that guy Rich? Oh, which one was that? I can't really remember. So I'd rather have them
Yeah.
hate me. There's nothing worse than apathy, or not even caring, apathetic. So I'd rather have
Yes, yeah.
and
That's
just
a
because
great quote. I've heard that. I forgot where I heard that, but it's yeah. Apathy is the worst thing for a creator.
yeah. So I could care. Sometimes perfect example is what we're talking about Ed Wood.
Yep.
People thought that he was the worst director of all time. Like, wow, I gotta check this guy out. And then he became really even more popular after his death and all the movies that he made back when he was alive. And so the people, unfortunately, like train wrecks, and that makes them want to view as for the it's like now it would be it's all clickbait, but there in with that, maybe they sort of did that, checked him out first just to see what a train wreck it was, and they were like, it's really not that bad after all, and I enjoy it. Which I've seen probably like three of his movies, and I enjoyed every single one. It's for all the reasons that we talked about, and you could tell maybe the acting wasn't the best, maybe the story wasn't the best, but that was his vision, that was his passion, and he's making what he wanted to do, regardless what anybody else said that he should do.
Oh yeah, like there's to me a bad movie is a movie that you don't remember. It's like it leaves your head as soon as you leave the theater.
Yeah.
It has no impact on you or whatever. It's one of those things where people will be like, a good movie is like an Oscar winner, you know what I mean, something like that. But I think good is where people get art like mixed up and things where it's like, was it impactful?
Yeah.
Did, and did it leave anything, you know, on you? Because like, think about like, we're not the only ones who have made videos on Ed Wood or whatever. That's one of those things.
Exactly.
He's still relevant. I mean, especially today. Like honestly, I would much rather see every Ed Wood. I'd pay to see every Ed Wood movie that has been made in the theaters right now than a lot of what's in the theaters. Although horror is pretty good right now, honestly. Horror is one of the few genres that's doing pretty good. Comedy is, unfortunately, it almost seems gone. Horror is doing really well. That's one of the last bastions of uh of film right now is horror.
And I want to bring this up because I think the first real talk you did was a movie called Talk to Me, Danny and Michael Philippou, and we haven't talked since then. But their second movie, Bring Her Back, was even better, even more over the top, and it was just and that actress, I can't remember her name. She should win an Oscar for that. She played such a great role. The one who played the caregiver of. Did you see the movie?
I didn't.
Oh my God, I
Unfortunately,
saw it
but I
three
need
times in the
to.
theater.
I need to. I've been catching up on movies that like I've been wanting to
Yeah.
see for a long time, like Event Horizon. I'd never seen that movie.
Oh, that's a great Sam Neill, right?
Yeah,
Is that Sam Neill?
yep.
Yep.
Sam Neill, yep. Event Horizon. I
Yep.
watched all of the Halloween movies in order. I'm doing the same thing with Friday the 13th. I'd never watched the Halloween movies in order, and I would always fall off after um the fourth one.
Yeah.
um and so I really wanted to sit down and get in deep with that, the cult and all that, and really watch that. And honestly, that would have been my, I know this is a Ed Wood documentary, but I have a complaint about The Curse of Michael Myers, and I think it would have been a much better movie if they didn't have that weird guitar sound in it, in the soundtrack. And honestly, the soundtrack, other than that, is amazing. It has that wee wee wee, like kind of, I don't know, like almost like um comedic sound to it, where like it would start to get intense, and I'd be like, oh, and then it would hit that weird guitar sound. It's hard to um uh, imitate, obviously vocally, but it's, if I wish. Are you looking it up now?
Yeah, well, no, but the reason I'm looking up is because I wanted to double check it. You can. I interviewed Alan Howarth, who did the music for that film. So
Oh my
I
God!
did. No,
Oh
he's
my God! I'm sorry.
no. It's good. It's everybody. No, that's what I love. Everybody has their own opinion.
Yeah.
I was laughing. Like, I think because you know what happened. He started working with John Carpenter, and then John Carpenter started doing his own thing. He was like, you know what? They were collaborating. They were writing music together. They were side by
Yeah.
side. And he said John did most of it, and then he would just add different things in there. But then after a while, John's like, just go ahead. Just go ahead.
Yeah, just do you. Yeah, just do
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Like, he did a great job.
No,
It's a personal opinion. It's one of those things where I think I've heard I've heard the sound and like used very similar, almost the exact same sound. Probably not the exact same sound, but very similar
yeah,
in
yeah.
comedic videos. So
Yeah.
maybe that was the correlation or whatever. I'll give him
Maybe.
that, but I will stick to my guns and
Yeah.
say it's funny. It makes, it adds a little comedy to that movie that I'm sure was unintentional. And
Yeah.
that's one of those things. It's just, it's like, oh, I interviewed that guy.
Yeah. That's why I was laughing. I, was like, I think that he did that
Of
movie.
course you did.
But he is. I mean, yeah. They said no. You don't have to like everything everybody did. And I'm sure there's some
No,
interviews that you're uploading for me going like this. This one sucks. So, so
no, I
it's
mean,
just a.
never on your part. I'll tell you that.
Well, I appreciate that. And, I want to say because you were talking
That
about
Rob Bull guy. Oh.
you were, you were talking about being so honest. One of the things I love about being a part of this show is there's times where I'm talking to the person, and it only happened maybe two or three times. They're like, "Oh, the interviews were still recording." They thought we were just talking. We were just having a conversation. Because I love the fact
Yeah,
it
right.
stops becoming an interview and just becomes, because there's times where people say, I've never said this to anybody. I've never, because off the air they'll say that, they're like, "What we said there, wow, like I don't even, you get the most out of me." So I love the fact that the show is not just a question and answer. It's more of just a conversation between two friends. That's what it becomes.
No, absolutely, man. It really is incredible. You have um an underrated channel and talent. Actually, I wouldn't say underrated, because everyone that you talk to,
Yeah.
it, it's it's the same. It's the same exact kind of excitement or whatever. And I know most of these people probably didn't go and watch like past ones to know how you were as it, like, it's genuine. um I don't want to say shock, but almost, where
Yeah.
they're all like, wow, you are,
Yeah.
like, this was one of the best interviews. I can't tell you how many times I've heard that.
Oh yeah, and
And
that to me is like the best compliment, because as you know, I put a hell of a lot of work into it. People will say, "I'm ready tomorrow." I said, "Can you give me a couple weeks because I got to do a lot of research." But I know some people just turn on the mic, and I love the fact when people do say it, because it makes all the hard work I put into it worth it. Even if they didn't say it, I would do it like that because that's just how I am. But the fact that, like, that people duped. Like the perfect example is you co-hosted a show with me, the guy who wrote a book in the Blues Brothers, and he was
Yes.
just blown. He goes, "Oh my God!" He goes, "Wow, you really did your research on this," and he gave
Yeah, yeah, you did, man.
there was someone we did like I think a 3 hour interview. He cut it off because he goes, and then he goes, he did send me the other book. I'm going to be doing one because his I don't know. He's somehow related to Don Knotts. I forgot how it is, but there's a book of like my life in Andy, with Andy Griffith that's about Don Knotts,
Yes. Yep. Yeah, I remember him saying that. I think it was through
his
uh
marriage or something.
yes, yep, I think it was through marriage. I think he was saying.
But
Um
that was just one example of where I think he was sort of
yeah,
like taken aback. Going, "Whoa, this is I didn't
and
expect all this."
that was an honor, man. That was an honor. I really appreciate that. That was such a good interview, and I had a great time like listening to the book and me and you
Yeah,
talking about it back and forth. You know, the show is such a great show.
yeah.
It really is. You're such a great host, and you know, honestly, I want to use my talents and help you do more. Honestly, I would really enjoy that because I know going back to fulfillment, um, I can only imagine the like how you feel, like not even at a like that could sound like a I can only imagine, you know,
Yeah.
but it's not like that. I mean, I know how you feel like through experiences that I've had when I have either conversations with people or I perform live or I you know show people my music. It it's fulfilling to be like your your talent and your love is something that people do find an appreciation for, a deep
Yeah.
appreciation for, and it's so good. And I think going back to Ed Wood, I think that is why he ended up becoming such a alcoholic and passing away the way
Yeah.
he did,
Yeah.
because he he kind of gave up and then he just started doing like adult films and he just was doing things for money.
Yeah.
um and that is, it's degrading as a, you know, as a creative to be like I failed and now I just have to do what I have to do and to just make ends meet, you know. And that kind of like I tried and I failed and I tried so many times and I failed. um it's one of those things where like the things I release, I I make sure I like before I release them or whatever. But there's so many things that I haven't released. I haven't even attempted that feel like failures. You know what I mean? That I know aren't, but also are. So I know both worlds. You know, I know the kind of fulfillment and the thing to get from it, and then the deep sense of failure, the deep sense of like, man, I just now I just got to do what I got to do. But I don't care. I'll never give up. I'll
I know.
never give up. And because it's not about giving up, it's just about being who you are and just having fun. Like I'm not rich. I haven't made any money from any of the videos or whatever that I've made or whatever, but the feeling of posting an Edgar video or whatever and people being like, this guy's amazing, and women being fawning over me, it's insane. I like especially on TikTok I've had so many like, oh, Edgar's so hot, and it's like the guy, this weird the guy who did like cloaked figure that's like, you know, obsessed with beans and stuff like. But I think what it is, it's the confidence. It's the
Exactly.
confidence to be self-deprecating, to have that like intuition, to be in touch with that. And that's where a lot of that comes from. That's where I think like if you're a person like that, if you're a person that is very judgmental and hard on yourself or whatever,
Mhm.
incorporate that into who you are
Exactly.
in a positive way, because then that becomes your strength, then that becomes something positive. And I think that's where Ed Wood, maybe he didn't have something like that, where he didn't he wasn't. Well, he also didn't live to see the 80s where he became
Yep.
that. Maybe he would have,
Yep.
maybe he would have. And it's a tragedy that, he passed away. Like from what I heard was like he had a heart attack and his wife came in the room and it was like his eyes were wide open and it was like he was screaming and just clutching his chest as he passed. Like it just,
Yeah,
and it's like, it adds to the irony.
he wasn't even that old, was he? I'm trying to remember. I don't know his exact
I don't
age
know.
when he passed away, but he
I
was
think it was
young. But
50 or something. I think
yeah,
around there. Like it wasn't a
wow.
45 or 50 years.
Wow.
Uh,
Because yeah, I was when doing my research on it, I saw a couple documentaries, I read stuff, and they were getting evicted left and right all the time.
yeah. Yeah.
He
Bouncing
and
checks.
And unfortunately, like you said, I think maybe a lot of it was that he felt like a failure because he felt like he never made it. But then, if he got a chance to survive a little bit longer, he would have seen how much people like him, and that probably would have made him. Maybe it would have been a resurgence, and he would have made a whole set of new movies with a bigger budget and better actors and things like that. So who knows what could have happened if he just um, lived a little bit longer and had
That,
that saw that fame for himself, and that would have given him the confidence to go on.
exactly. And that's why my personal belief is to, even if you have to grab it by the throat and strangle it, you need to keep positivity
Yep.
going. Like even if like you have to force it or whatever, because let's say, I'd rather die with a positive outlook on things than a negative.
Hmm.
Because either way, you're gonna die. We're all gonna die or whatever. But the negativity brings it much faster. And why not die in a way that? And it's hard. I know it's hard. It's hard to keep positive, especially in a world like we are in now, where negativity is money for major media corporations and things like that. Don't get caught up in that. We all do. We
Yeah.
all do. We all get caught up with rage, and whatever. But
Yeah.
use when I get lost in that, use get away from that. Create, do something, touch grass, as they would like to say, or something like that. Like because it's remember that it's manufactured. I'm a person who like preaches repetition. You
Yep.
have to like because there's things in my life where I've heard something like, oh, just do this or think this way when this thing happens, and I'm like, yeah, easy, yeah, so easy, right? But
Yeah.
like, what is lacking in that lesson is repetition, is discipline, is regardless of what it is. I have moments where I am just down and out. And I know I'm down and out. And I've gotten to a point where I'm like, okay, this is where I am right now. Don't beat yourself up.
Hmm.
Just just be. Don't beat yourself up. And then because it just spirals or that self-hatred, loathing, all that stuff, it spirals and then that will kill you. That will
Right.
cause cancer, causes heart attacks, strokes, all those things. In those moments, don't think about yourself. Don't. It's one of those things. Find a distraction. Find a distraction, and this is where the discipline comes in. Don't get lost in that distraction though.
Yep. No,
You
exactly.
know,
And I use this example a lot, and I'm sure people that watch all these shows, and you probably have heard me talk about this, but several years ago, my brother's wife was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. So then people would be like, I had friends that would be complaining about something. Oh my God, I can't believe this. I said, you know what? And my brother's wife is named Lean. She's unfortunately deceased now. She died about 2 years ago. I said, I bet you she wishes she had your problem. You don't understand. I said, yes, I do understand. If you look at it from the big picture, step outside, your life is pretty damn good. If this is the worst thing that happens to you, compared to
wow,
what she's going through, there's no chance that she's going to survive. She's getting weaker and weaker, thinner and thinner. By the time I saw a picture of her, I didn't even recognize her. It's how bad it was. But I mean, everybody goes through shit. It's just how you handle it. And like I said, I know some of the, we talked
exactly.
off here, some of the things you've gone through. And I love the fact, I think when you go through that, you just come back stronger and better.
You do, and that is a beautiful story, and it's a sad, a
Yeah.
tragic story on so many levels. It's not only tragic for what was her name? Sorry,
Her name was
the
Lean, Lein. She was from Vietnam.
it's, like not only sad and tragic for her, but it's also sad and tragic for those people that
Yeah.
are like, but me, but it's like I am like, yeah, you can understand, like you said, people go through things, and life is not perfect or whatever, but you do have to. There's a certain feeling I feel when I hear things like that, where it's like, yeah, but it's like a narcissism,
Yeah.
where it's like for me, I fear death. I I get sad, I get angry, I do all these things that humans do and humans feel, um, but the last thing I want to do is put my burden onto somebody else, even when unfortunately sometimes I've had to. I've um, I've had to, and for yourself, the best thing that you can do, and one of the not one of the best lesson I have learned in my life is that your suffering doesn't only have to be suffering and punishment. It can be a gift.
Hmm.
And as fucked up as that sounds, I know there's people out there that'll be like, "Oh yeah, well, you think cancer's a gift, and all these things are a gift, and then I mean, getting assaulted, SA, getting assaulted in intimate ways is it's a gift." No, no, that's not a gift. It's a horrible tragedy or whatever. But what you can turn that into is a gift, and you take the burnt ash of who you were or whatever, you compress it and you refine that and you turn it into a diamond and you give it back to the world. That is that is the most fulfilling. That's why creating, that's why I always creating for me, it's not everything. Some people get the same kind of feeling as I do when I make a song or whatever, doing Legos or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, do that and share it with the world, connect with people. And as soon as a deep rooted negativity comes your way, get out of there.
Yep.
If it's somebody bringing it to you, get out of there. If it's you doing it or whatever, you need to look inside. You need to constantly be aware of who you are and what you want to be and where you're going.
I think a perfect example of what you just said has to be Michael J. Fox. That guy had the world at his fingertips. He had the number one hit show. He was making movies like Back to the Future, number one movies, number one TV show. He had the beautiful wife, and all of a sudden gets diagnosed with Parkinson's at such an early age. But he took that, and the guy has such a great sense of humor. And I mean, if he's been on so many different TV shows over the last couple of years, one of my favorites of all time has to be Curb Your Enthusiasm, which is Larry David, who created Seinfeld.
Yeah.
And there's an episode where he just, I mean, the show's for people who don't know. Most of the people like me and like this show know who Larry David is. 'Cause we have the
Oh
same
yeah.
sense of humor. But they have a whole episode where he's like, because Michael J. Fox, he yells at him, he starts shaking his head. He goes, "Was that a Parkinson shake? Or was that, no, are you angry with me?" So then,
I love that.
yeah, so
I
the reason I'm bringing this up is because he takes a horrible experience but makes it funny, and he has such a great sense of humor about it. So then they get into another fight over something. And he goes, "All right, you want a soda?" So he's over trying to give him the soda like that, and he's shaking. And then so you did that on purpose. Parkinson's a whole episode. He's messing with him, and but the fact that he's able to take one of the worst things ever that can happen to somebody and just make it, but not only it helps him cope with it, but so many people out there are probably inspired
yeah.
by that, saying, "Thank God my life is, he's making me realize how good my life is." And if they're going through something like cancer or other diseases, they're like, you know what, if he can handle it like this, I have to be just as strong. So I love the fact that he is a perfect example of what you were just talking about.
Exactly. That is a beautiful example. Where your weakness
Yep.
is your strength. That is like that's but we are trained to want to fit in.
Yeah.
The people that fit in usually aren't
Yeah.
member. You know, usually that you don't try to stand out, then you're not going to stand out.
Yeah.
And if you don't use something like that or Parkinson's, and like I'm the same way. I always make fun of my weight. I make fun of my psoriasis. I have Lyme disease. Horrible things have happened to me or whatever, and I feel grateful that I have that ammo.
Yep.
That I have a list of things that I'm like, because one of the best feelings is like it makes people uncomfortable. It makes people uncomfortable, but not really so much. What I really enjoy is when I make people uncomfortable because they're insecure about their insecurities.
Mhm.
But so me being, it's like a weird paradoxical thing where me
Yeah.
being open about my insecurities makes them insecure about their insecurities that have nothing to do with you
Hmm.
know what I mean? Like it's one of those things where sometimes you gotta break minds to really create them. You know what I mean? Like if you want an egg or whatever, if you want some,
You want an
if
omelet, you got to break an egg.
exactly. You know?
Well, I mean, I hide it when I'm doing the Zoom show, not intentionally, but just because, but people know I have cerebral palsy. And so back in high school, my nickname was the Claw. And I got to say, this was long before Jim Carrey did it. I get pissed off when people say it. This was back in the 80s. And it was funny because when the movie came out, all my friends were joking around like, hey man, Jim Carrey's ripping you off. He's the Claw. And I was like, I know. So my whole stand-up act was about my cerebral palsy. Some people didn't get it. Other people got it and people loved it. And it was funny because at first when I started doing it, I'm a huge fan, just like you, of self-deprecating humor. I am very
Yes,
confident.
yes,
I'm very
yes. I
confident.
love your sense of humor. You have one
Yeah,
of the best sense of humors
yeah,
I've ever met,
yeah,
and I think that's why we mesh so well too. Because I mean, I don't. It's one of those things where I don't make those jokes about you or whatever because
yeah.
I don't really think about it. Honestly, I don't even,
No,
it's like to me, you are one of like, it doesn't matter if you're cerebral palsy or whatever, but a lot of people we are within our primal, whatever, instinct or whatever here, cerebral palsy, a portion of a person's brain doesn't work, right?
I
Is
don't.
that,
I don't know
I
exactly
don't
what it
know
is.
if that's what that is exactly,
Well,
but
I can tell you what happened to me, and maybe it's the same because it's not really a disease. It's usually caused by something when you're being
sorry, did I say
burdened by.
disease? I didn't mean that. I
Like
mean,
for me, it
sorry.
was lack of oxygen to the brain, and when I was the left side controls the left, right side controls the left, right. I mean, left side
Yeah.
controls right, vice versa. And so whatever. I mean, there's a
Me,
lot more to it, but so the whole left side of my brain is completely dead.
me,
But the
we're
happened right.
brothers, man.
What
We're
was that?
brothers. I
Hey,
said we're brothers, because I mean, I don't know. I haven't had a CAT scan, or I don't know how you figure that out, or whatever. But when I was born with the umbilical cord wrapped around my neck twice, and I came out
wow,
bluer than the sky.
wow.
Like they were worried about me, and it makes sense because I feel I do always kind of feel lightheaded. My whole life has been kind of just like there's like a thin haze and stuff, and like I'm like, I wonder if that has to do with anything. Because that was one of those things where like a lot of babies and stuff like die that way,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
so when you were like a lack of oxygen, I was like,
That's yeah. Well, it's
yeah,
funny. And for me, I'm not sure about you. We could talk about what happened with you. But when I was born, I was given the last rites 3 times. They said I would never walk or talk.
oh no, no,
Yes,
no,
so it got really
what
bad.
really, man?
Yep. So, but what happened was the right side, since it happened right when I was born, the right side took over for the left and overcompensated for it. So that's why, I mean, I remember my mother taking me, I mean, I don't remember. She told me a story. She's taking me to a doctor, like, well, I don't think he'll be able to walk, but, and he made the joke, like, at least he could play golf in his wheelchair or something like that. My mother's like, fuck you. And she took me to another
Jesus.
doctor. Yeah, I mean,
What?
I think he was being sarcastic, but so she took me to another doctor who tore my tendon apart because I used to walk on my toe, and then they had a brace on. So I mean, compare like so, and when people not anymore, but when I was younger, people were like, "Oh, I feel bad." It's like, for what? This is not
No,
effective. I mean, I can
I
tell you all
know.
different things. You know, some of the things I've done, but like when I was in baseball, when I was a kid, I had the highest average in the league, and then like I said, I was a singer, comedian. I wrote a book.
You and he'll most likely never walk. You
Yeah.
run marathons. You
Yeah, I
run
forgot about that. Yeah. Yeah.
all the time, man. You
Yeah.
I, like like it's insane the things that you have done with and you were given not one
Three. Three.
but three death sentences.
Yep.
Three, you know what I mean? Like three, like you are like you are the exception, but you're also the rule.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Because like and the way that your brain over like your brain compensated for the
Yes.
other, like that's how miraculous the human body and life can be. That's why you can't, don't write yourself off. Don't, you know what I mean? Don't, and that's why don't get caught up in the
Yeah.
negativity. Don't get caught up in
Exactly.
self-hatred or whatever. Don't, like give yourself a little leeway, give yourself a little break sometimes. And if you need to be, get a distraction, get away from yourself metaphorically.
Yeah.
But always come back. And for me, it's like you'll find something in that distraction that brings you back to you.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
That's why
there's
maybe
always
maybe that's
time.
why I have such a positive attitude because for the most part I very rarely get depressed. And if I get depressed, it's over stupid things, and then I just think about what I said before. I'm like, I bet you my brother's wife wishes she had this problem. I'm like, you know what? I'm better now. So life is pretty damn good. Life has been pretty damn good, and hopefully it stays this way for a long time. But
Yeah.
but it's funny you said that because when I was in fourth grade, usually when kids are at their cruelest, I said
Yeah.
I'm going for an operation. I said for what? I said my leg. They're like, what's wrong with your leg? I said, Cyril. Oh, I forgot all about that. I mean, kids in fourth grade were saying this. So after a while, like people said, because I just never really. I mean, besides the jokes I make about it with people, I really don't think about it. And then people just
Yeah.
it
It's who
just
you are.
they just yeah.
It's you. Mhm.
Exactly. So I never really had. I mean, if people did, it was behind my back, and I could give a shit less. But I never had anybody really make fun of me or anything. Like I said, sure that there might have been some kids, but I never ever got.
Yeah, but you know what? It's one of those things where sometimes a lot of what I do is I I like being disliked because I know the people that dislike me I are closed-minded people
Oh yeah,
are people that I don't want as fans or what, you know what I mean? It's one of those things where I'm not gonna try to adhere or be generic or you know what I mean,
exactly.
or because I've gotten so like I've gotten comments on my videos of people being like, "Who is this for?" Um, uh,
It's for you.
People being like, "I want to burn my eyes out" and things like that, and it's like, I mean, honestly, I love those ones because I think like,
Those
and
are
you have to realize that it's like that's funny. And either way, people took the time to comment. People took the,
exactly.
and especially when if you want to think about it in a social media type thing, engagement, whether negative or positive, is good. Um,
Exactly. We'll go back to the apathy. I said I would rather have people hate me than not remember me. So there's so many things that I've done where, and actually, you know what? It's funny. Most people, they still say this to me. They're like, you know what I like about you the best? I said, what? They're like, that you don't give a shit. And I don't. Like, I, some people try to be different intentionally, and you could tell, like, and they're just being phony about it. I just have a lot of different interests, and I like to do what I like to do. And if people are paying attention, that's fine. But for the most part, I'm not like trying to like be different intentionally. But there's things that I like that maybe other people don't. And it's funny because I can get along with pretty much anybody. Like, and it's so funny. People will like me for different reasons. Like, I remember, like, because I love horror movies, and back in my 20s, I used to wear a lot of horror movie shirts. I still do. I have some that still I haven't. But I had one group say, "Oh my God, you wear the coolest shirts." Then the next group would be like, why do you wear that shit? But I got along
yeah,
with
right.
everybody. But it's like the fact that like, and then sometimes I'll say something and they're like, "Oh, that's just rich," because they know my personality and they know that like I have a great sense of humor. But that's what,
Yeah,
and so I tell people is just be yourself. Don't worry. Don't try to make friends. Who wants friends that
yeah,
are phony?
yeah.
If you have to be phony, then why would you even want them as friends anyway? If they don't like you for you. So I
Exactly,
always,
exactly.
I'd rather be alone. I don't care. I don't
It
need
is.
friends that badly.
Yeah.
I like to do what I like to do, and it's funny because a lot more people want to be around me because I'm like that, and same thing with you because you have that
Yeah,
similar
yeah.
personality.
exactly. And I mean, honestly, I have a lot of people that um I've had a lot of people that um want to uh that either I want to get away from, or want, like, couldn't handle
Right.
me. And like, especially in an artistic kind of way, I've had family members and whatever, um that and friends that like became so jealous. And this is not me tooting my horn, this is not something that even I want to be a thing,
Yeah.
because I but the more I want to like try to inspire, or not even inspire, just like work with people and create with them. I've met some um Judases. You know what I mean? I like some people that um friends, and like, it's one of these things. I want to be careful because I don't want anybody to think I'm talking about them, but at the same time I want other people to know I'm talking about them. It's but you know what I mean?
Fine
It's
line.
all male um people, a lot of male people in my life, um like people, especially people along the lines of creatives. um I don't want to say a lot, but real close people, a handful, maybe just a couple that are really impactful, that they become. And actually, this is a great lesson. When you do become unique and you do become yourself, there will be people that don't like that,
Yeah. And who cares?
because they can't become that. It's not like I'm not special. I'm not anything. You know what I mean? But I have like gained enemies from the people that were closest to me, which is insane in my opinion. But because I shine,
Hmm.
because I have shined, and like I'm saying, this sounds it sounds narcissistic or whatever,
No,
but
not at all. I know
but
exactly what you're
but
saying.
people around me, like their friends, my friends, mutual friends, and people like that, mutual family members, have told me before I even suspected things, that they're like, oh, yeah, maybe you don't want to play your music around them, or not, no, they're jealous,
Who cares?
and it's like, yeah, and it's like, yeah, but when it's, fuck it, I don't care. When it's your own father,
Yeah.
um, not my stepdad, but my stepdad actually encourages the things that I do. And he wasn't the best growing up, but who is? Who's a perfect parent or whatever, Um, I hate to say it, but my mom has had issues or whatever, but I don't blame them, because listen, they had fucked up lives too, and they did the best that they could, and I thank them. I thank them for everything that they've done, and I'll do that till the end of my days. My dad left. He had some second chances. He had some to I gave him, what really hurt was that I gave him more than an ample opportunity to have a relationship with me, to do. And then his jealousy and anger and hatred, which I have seen in myself. I am not it's one of those things. I have seen me be jealous. I have seen me, like, I've seen him in me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, your parents are your parents. It's one of those things. But I always try to get that and nip it as soon as I can. And if I can't, you are getting the most sincerest apology or whatever, you know. Um, Never any violence, never physical violence or whatever, but just that kind of my thing is watered down because I am so self-aware.
Hmm.
My people like that, they don't want to talk about their problems.
Yeah.
They don't want to talk about their downfalls. They don't want to even talk about a situation that made somebody feel bad. Um, and it's one of those things where it's like, I want to. If I do something wrong, I want to tell you exactly what I did wrong.
Hmm.
And I want to let you know that that not only do I know I was wrong and I feel disappointed and a little bit of loathing and self-hatred or whatever, but I want to, not only that, I want to recognize that. I keep it in the forefront of my mind, not all the time. I'm not saying that or whatever, but as soon as something like that, I want to learn fast. I want to learn fast and cut off things, like make sure that you remember who you are and um, how bad tendencies are within us.
Hmm.
I mean, honestly, maybe not you because I don't know. I haven't seen a, I haven't seen an ounce of that in you, man. You're
Yeah.
almost Christ-like. I'll tell you that. I know you don't like Christianity, which sometimes kind of blows my mind because I feel like you're a miracle, man. I feel
Oh
like
no,
you are.
that part I believe. Like I
I
said,
think
I don't.
I do. I mean, honestly, I've been getting a little closer towards that. And
Yeah.
I listen, anybody that doesn't like that, I don't, I'm not as messed up as it sounds. You can call me I guess a satanic Christian,
Yeah.
because I don't mind. You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't care if like somebody hates God. Your life led you to that point.
Exactly.
How am I to tell you, especially as a lover of Jesus,
Yeah.
how am I to tell you that like that your life,
Yeah.
because a lot of like what I believe there are horrible, but and we've talked about this, there
I
are
know.
abhorrent things that I don't agree with in the Bible or whatever, but I do believe in acceptance, forgiveness, and all that stuff. And that, and it makes me happier, But yes,
Well, there's two things I want to
obviously,
say before we even continue.
sorry, Edward.
One, I just want to. Well, no, we will get back to Ed Wood. I promise. I'm enjoying this conversation though. This is all really
Yeah,
pertaining to Ed Wood in a way because his life was like that, where he didn't really feel
yeah,
empathy and
yeah.
things like that. But what I want to say is like this will be another conversation for another podcast, which I would like to talk about this. My views on religion is I think there's something out there, and I do think that what happened to me is a miracle. But I think religion is man-made just to create order. I think that a lot of the like 10 rules, 10 this, and like it just seems like, and there's every other religion has basically the same story but different names. There's so either one's wrong
I
or one's right or they're
I
all
agree.
right. And the other thing I want to say is I don't know her except
So,
through Facebook, but I love your mom. Your mom seems like the nicest person. She seems like I said, I only know it through Facebook, but she seems very supportive of all the things that you do. That I can tell, like online, she's always like, "I love this. You're the best," and everything. So I love the fact that I mean, I'm not sure, the upbringing you had with your father, but it seems like right now your mother is all about Rob Bull. I love that.
she is like she's all about like me and my sister Angela.
Yeah, yeah.
And she's a I think she got pinned. There's a pinning ceremony. I believe she's an RN. I think I feel horrible, but like I said, Rich, I like you have your cerebral palsy. I
Yeah,
have my just,
yeah.
me. I'm always like I'm searching for words, and I am very forgetful. I also have Lyme disease and stuff like that. It does affect
Uh,
my memory. I'm sure if I had a scat can, oh my god,
I like that.
a cat
I wish,
scan,
I wish I had a scat can.
a scat can, a cat scan, I would have holes in my brain, but which, which, I
That's
mean, yeah. So no, I like, and that's why I feel like we kind of connect because we're
yeah.
me and you, we're like, we're loopy and we're different,
Yes,
We're
I love.
loopy, but we're sharp and
Yeah,
we have conviction and we're, it's like, it's not like we're lobotomized, thankfully.
yeah, thank
Um, but you know, uh, I really do, honestly, man, I love you. Like, not, I mean, this isn't me confessing like a weird kind of love for you or anything, but this is like, you are a great,
I know
will
what you
you
mean by
marry
that.
me, Rich?
No, I will not. Sorry.
Well, this podcast is over then. No, no, I'm kidding.
That's
No, no, no.
funny.
I've got a, I've got a significant other, so I appreciate it.
That is hilarious.
Or at least I hope you at least appreciate it. And it's like, man, wow, he doesn't even care. No, no. But no, I really appreciate you, man. Like honestly, I know this was like a, um supposed to be strictly on Ed Wood, and but it falls along the lines because a
Yeah,
lot. I feel like a lot of what Ed Wood was a struggle and a fight, but he did it with a weird mix of madness and grace,
yeah,
and he went out there and he loved Angora sweaters and stuff like that, and hey,
yeah.
like I don't know, I love that kind of like different. It's like punk rock, it's that kind of like.
Oh yeah. Well,
I mean,
especially back then, as we mentioned about an hour ago. I said back then it wasn't accepted like it was today. And he said the biggest fear he had was when he was in the military, parachuting. If he ever like was injured and they found him wearing women's underwear, that was like his fear. His biggest fear was
yes.
dying. His biggest fear was then trying to repair, like bring him to the emergency room and say, "Whoa, what the hell is this?"
Speaking of that, maybe we should let's since we have, I know we said around 9:45 or whatever, we got about
Yeah.
15 minutes.
Yep.
You want to talk about like our favorite scenes in the
Of
movie? I think
the Ed Wood movie.
yes, and then
Yeah.
that way I was thinking I could make I can get like clips. And actually
Yeah.
I'll probably go through this and I'll probably make clips and stuff. I want to make shorts for you and stuff.
That would be great.
On social media stuff because especially because you know I am involved, and this is a community, um, and I've become obsessed with filmmaking and video creation and stuff like that. I hate to bring it up now, but what happened with your microphone?
What do you mean? You can't hear
Um,
me?
oh no. I can hear you, but I remember you had that, like you had a micro. Oh, okay, it's still there.
Yeah, I have it right
Okay,
here.
great.
What I
Okay,
did
nice.
was I keep it further away because I've seen watching my other
Yes,
interview when I kept it
yes,
close up to me, it was way too loud.
yes, yep, yes, yeah. You have a very. Yeah, I was gonna say, I was like, oh no. I was like, don't bring it closer because I couldn't even see it. I was like, yeah, you have that, like I can project. I won't because I'm like I told you before, I got my microphone right here because I speak. I can project or whatever. I feel like I'm actually projecting more than I normally would, but I have that, use the diaphragm or whatever. But some people just have those natural.
Yeah,
You have like a very, I don't want to say loud in a bad way or whatever, but you have that very like, it's just natural for you to be that way.
yeah.
Where for me, it's like I love, I can be very loud. One of my favorite things I'm doing on stage is screaming. So
I've seen
but
videos.
yes, and but like normally I am very quiet. I'm very, you know, soft spoken. And you're not necessarily a screamer or whatever, but
No,
it's one of those things where I think it maybe has something to do with voice boxes or something. I feel like mine is a little. I have to work a little more to get it to where I want it to be from all the use of the cigarette smoking and wild turkey
all
101
right.
that I got. And for Ed Wood, Fred.
Ed
I
Wood.
use some water right there. I'm sure. Oh man.
No,
Oh, I got to get one of those. I'm gonna buy one of those.
all right. Yep.
Absolutely.
I will.
That is a
I will get you all the
wow.
information. We have
That's like
shirts. We have hoodies. We have the water. We have the little mugs. The Claws Corner merchandise is ready for everybody. If you want to buy it, if you're watching, please let me know. We'll have the link ready for you.
what a perfect ad. Like that was like unplanned. That was perfect. That was perfect.
And
But yes.
you could fit a lot of wild turkey in this.
Yeah. It's one of those things where it's like I have to. This is one of my admissions, I guess. This is my confession, Rich. You are my priest. I confess. I confess to you. Um, I had given into. It's one of those things where I believe in moderation,
Yes.
and I believe that some people. So for me, I became what we like to call a casual, what I like to call a casual alcoholic, which I guess is a alcoholic. But I, for years and years, I just didn't want to necessarily give into that. Not saying I'm like I go weeks, days without drinking or whatever. But I've come to the conclusion that I'm a degenerate. I've come to the conclusion that um it's all right to within moderation and creation to indulge in things as long as you do it all the time. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding. It's not so I don't do it at work or
Yeah.
whatever. It's I don't know. I'm in the I since the last time we spoke and did a podcast or whatever,
Yeah.
I have changed. I don't want to say changed or whatever. I've gotten to know myself more significantly, and I've argued with myself, and I've come to know who I am, what I want to do, and things like that. And I'm like, okay, alcohol loosens me up,
Hmm.
just like most people it does.
Yeah.
Are you like? Do you like to drink?
I do like to drink. The problem is like for me, I will not do it before a show or
Absolutely.
before because I know some people. I'll give you an example. When I did comedy, so many people are like, I can't go up on stage unless I have a drink. I said, I'm just the opposite. I can't go up on stage if I did because maybe I mean
I can. Okay. Yeah.
it takes a little while to get me drunk, but even I think mentally, I would think like I had a couple beers. I'm not going to be as sharp as I would be if I was completely sober. But after I get off stage, like
Absolutely.
yes, let's have some fun. Let's have a couple drinks. So yes, I do enjoy a couple drinks, but not to the point where you know, like as you mentioned,
You're.
I'm
Yeah,
not
like getting
missing work
trashed.
because of it. I'm not missing other things because.
Shakes. Yeah, you're
But
not.
it's just for fun, and it is fun.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. It's one of those things where, as an addict and an alcoholic, that's part of an addict,
Yeah.
for a long time I tried to um really not indulge and whatever. And it's one of those things where it's hard to admit because um it is very hard to admit. And this goes back to Ed Wood. I mean, he
Yeah.
became a
Bail.
very
Oh,
deep
oh, yeah, exactly. And then
alcohol in his despair.
yeah, well,
Um
a question for you though. Sorry to interrupt you, but I want
no,
to
no, no,
ask you this.
please,
So I
please.
mean, if you just say, do you drink every night? Like there's a reason I'm asking this.
No,
All right, and so
no,
do
no.
you if you don't have a drink, are you start shaking, or do you start like getting
No, no,
antsy?
no, 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 no,
So I
no.
don't think you're an alcoholic then. I think you just
I,
enjoy drinking, which a lot of people do. There's a difference
I,
between being an
yeah,
alcoholic where you need it or just casually drinking where you enjoy it. I think you're more in the latter.
yes, yes, yeah, yeah. I would say I'm a middle ground. I
Yeah.
would say like because my father, he, he's one of those people too where binge drinkers. They
Yeah.
are also alcoholics. And that's what I was for a long time. I would like in a night. Sometimes I would finish, and this
Wow.
is 101. I would fit not maybe not finish, but get down to like there,
Yeah.
and I would feel like have to get. I would have to get trashed. And that was for like when I was young, especially I grew, I
Yeah.
worked in a bar in my 20s. I was a dishwasher in a bar in my 20s. And when I got out of, it was a bar and on the weekends from Thursday to Sunday, it was a dance club.
Yeah.
So, where my check went. And, but then I realized, yeah, it's like, it's one of those things where if I'm just like not doing anything, yeah, it's like, I don't need to
Yeah, that's why I
tinker
don't,
with
I
it.
mean, I don't think maybe middle ground is a good explanation, but I really don't think that because an alcoholic, my whole father's side of the family, not him. My father actually, since we're doing family confessions, my father had
Let's
six or
go.
seven sisters and brothers, and really none of them talked to him because he was the only one that made something out of himself. He was the only one that was an alcoholic, and he's the other like example would be like, well, why should we get your kids anything for Christmas? They already have everything. Why don't you just wrap up their old toys like we do for our kids? So it was like that was how they were, and thank God I didn't grow up with any of that. Like I saw them, talked to them, and I got along with them, but never really dealt.
Yeah,
They didn't want anything to do with us because they were jealous, and so I've seen real alcoholics,
alcohol.
and
Yeah,
that's why I don't think that you are that because
alcoholism, where
yeah,
it's like it's tragic, and that's like going back to one of the reasons why I had to cut off my dad. Like Rich, you know me, I um I'm a very open-minded person. I'm a very um just I try to be generous. I try to see where people are coming from or whatever. And the relationship I had, it's like almost like polar opposites where it's very racist and stuff. And but
uh,
not only that, we would drink together. He because he would always want to drink and hang out and have a good time, as he would say. And it one of the last times I drank with him, he like begged me to kill him.
oh my
And
God,
yeah, and I said no, and then he threatened to beat me up. And then I I was like, okay, we're never drinking again. You know,
were you living with him at the time? How old were you?
no, I was this was maybe 3, 4 years ago.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it was what yeah, like I said, and after that I told him we're not getting drunk together anymore.
Mhm.
It's just one and but he would always keep pushing it. Things would be going good and they'd be like, hey, let's have a couple drinks. And I'm like, I'm the type of person where I'm like, it doesn't take. I'm not one of those people that like forgets
Yeah.
or doesn't see a situation for what it is.
Yeah.
So I'm like, nah, man, nah, and it just got more and more like that. And
Yeah. Well, it's a hard thing to
and
forget.
so I battle that as well, knowing that that's in me. It's a deep thing. That's why I called it a casual
Yeah.
uh, alcoholic, where I do know I who people like alcohol, obviously, or whatever, but I don't. It's one of those things where I do not need it.
Yeah. That's I think what makes the difference between somebody who enjoys a drink and who needs a drink. So
Yeah, where it's like I'm not,
yeah.
but I do need it. See, that's like the weird part, where it's like, like as soon as I say I don't need it, I feel like I need to say I do need it, but then when I say I do need it, then I feel like it. But it's not every day or whatever. And this isn't me trying to downplay or whatever. It's just me actually trying to be honest as a person,
Yep.
as like because I don't necessarily need to be,
Yep.
but I but I live my life in this kind of way where like there's an allure to things where when people are honest, and it's one of those things where maybe me saying this somebody else sees it and it opens a door that I'd never seen before.
Exactly. And just
Maybe
you
I
talking
find
about it maybe makes you feel better and but you already recognize it's funny you mention this because I've been I go on YouTube and I go down these little rabbit holes like everybody does. I've been watching the Dick Cavett show a lot, which I didn't know
really.
yeah, but he no, watch his show because it happened he had like Alfred Hitchcock on and I said that sort of led to a bunch of different things.
Yes. Yes,
So
yeah, yeah. Sometimes you don't realize that like going down an avenue
yeah, yeah,
that you never would have even thought,
yeah,
that it would have went down that, like me with like watching that Ed Wood video on RLM led
yeah,
me to watching the movie, what led
yeah,
to this
yeah,
today, and like I feel like this was a great conversation. I mean, especially like pertaining to Ed Wood.
yeah,
It's one of those things where I can only imagine how he felt
yeah,
at the end. Like at the end when like I'm not out here bouncing checks or anything. Like everything that I do, I and do it's like I gather, I've paid for, and it's I don't. The one thing I pride myself in that growing up around addicts and things like that,
mhm,
I was always selling, always like trying to find something that you can sell to get your next thing or whatever like that. Where I like to try to cultivate, I gather. Um, and the last thing, well, I do have some things on eBay right now. As messed up as it sounds, but it's one of those things where it's a very I am going through tough times, and
Yeah.
we've talked about this off camera. But uh, equipment, anything I need to create, I'm not. I'm actually just selling a couple cards. I have my some of my Twilight Zone cards and things like that. It's I feel horrible doing it, but I don't know. I feel good saying it because things aren't great. I could be like, trying to make myself seem like I got it all figured out.
Mhm.
Um, like most people that do podcasts like this, they got it all figured out. They don't, it's like I don't. I struggle, but I enjoy the struggle, and I feel like the struggle and the suffering is part of a major part of the journey.
Well, the good thing about you is that you recognize the struggle and you don't deny it, and you see there's a problem and you want to fix the problem. Because some people is like, I don't have a problem, I don't, or they don't even want to think about it. They don't want to talk, and they just get
Oh
really
yeah,
more
no, I got
depressed.
problems.
Yeah.
I
And,
got problems, brother.
and the reason I brought up, I want to go back to Dick Cavett. Why I brought that up was that he did an interview with Richard Burton. You got to see these shows because I think most of the talk shows, especially now, are just they. You could tell that they ask the questions backstage, and they already know the answer. And this show seems so off the cuff, so almost like Johnny Carson for the most part, where like you could tell like this was not scripted. They don't even know what. So he was talking to Richard Burton. He was talking about his time as an alcoholic, and he said like these. He goes, it's so tough being, he was sober at the time for I don't know how many years, but he said like this, everybody always finds a reason. Oh, I had a great day at work, so I'm going to drink. Oh, I had a bad day at work, I'm going to drink. Oh, this happened, so I need to drink. He goes, there's
Yes.
always a reason why somebody wants to drink. He goes, the hardest part is to say, you know what? No, I don't need that drink. So that's what, when you were saying that you need it, and that's what made me think of that interview with Richard Burton from the
Yes,
70s.
yes, yes, because I really don't like to lie, even if it hurts. Even if lying doesn't hurt as much as telling the truth. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Because why should I?
No.
What reason do I have besides some kind of ob object obfuscation? Sorry,
I know the
I
word
know
you're.
the word. Yeah. But to like just make me feel better.
Yep, exactly.
To make me feel better to try to portray myself as like um I got it all figured out.
Yeah. Nobody has it all
Because I
figured
know
out.
I'm a good speaker, and I know I can, I'm charismatic, but I don't want people to mistake that as success or me gloating or thinking that I have everything together. Like I'm lucky that I am charismatic.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I will use that charisma to let people know that I am far from perfect.
Which everybody is. Nobody
Yes.
has all the answers. Nobody will ever get near having all the answers before they pass away. But the fact that I think that you can use this as your strength and maybe do it through podcasts, do TED Talks, do like
Yes.
I was
Yeah.
doing motivational speaking. I can tell you like I don't know how many times I get messages like Rich without even me realizing it, and people or not even messages like the other day I was at the gym, like I love watching your, all this shit going on in the world. I look at your Facebook, it makes me so happy. You're having so much fun. I love it. You have no idea how much you inspire me. So
Yeah, man, for real, man. Because you are out there, you are living it. You have um like I don't want to say that you have it all
no, but I
put
don't.
together because I don't want you to think that like I'm saying that's how you portray it or da da da.
Yeah, no,
But you chase fulfillment.
exactly.
You
Well, that's what I'm
chase
saying.
fulfillment, and god damn it, you catch it, and you hog tie it. You get that you know what I mean? And I
I
love that
claw
about
the
you.
shit out of it.
You claw, yeah, man. Yeah. Some people fist, you claw. You get it, man. You get it, and that's what I think separate. I think that's what killed Ed Wood.
Yeah. Well, I
I
can tell.
think
I think you're right. And I can say one thing really quick. I can tell you is that like sometimes people will portray themselves in a certain way on Facebook or social media. I am the exact opposite. What you see is real because like I'm having so much fun. I'm doing everything, and people just catch me, catch pictures in the moment. I'm not over there going, all right, let me go over here, pretend I'm having a good time. I'm actually having the best time, and so that's why like
No, yeah, you
Yeah,
are. Yeah, you don't
yeah.
have like these weird stylized
No,
like photographer following you type
no,
like engineered life like in
exactly.
social media. I can like I know you as like as a person on a personal level. Me and you, you know, we're friends, and it's one of those things where I'm like, I see the things that you do.
Yeah.
You're a conqueror, man. You are a conqueror.
I
Borderline colonist. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
love it.
So,
But no, and and you are the same way because you have all these things that you've been through your whole. I mean, we talked about some of it right now, then other things off the air, and
absolutely.
you just keep.
I'm always gonna say some
Yeah,
like the conversations. I feel like no matter what we're talking about, it always goes towards this way
yeah,
uh,
yeah.
with
But
us. But deep stuff, you know. It's
I enjoy it, and I said I think it helps people that are watching this. They don't feel like they're alone, and they can relate to what you're going through, and you're without even realizing it, you're helping them. So.
that's more than I could ask for because you know it's things like this actually that have helped me. You
Hmm.
know, like watching interviews and reading a lot about people that go through struggles and the honesty and the uncomfortable honesty
Yeah.
is it it's refreshing and it inspires you. It makes you not feel like a monster. It makes you not feel, you know what I mean? And like, and that's why I relate, you know? And that's why I think everybody relates because we all have things inside of us that, um, make us feel different or whatever. But all those things, we all have something like that. And we're not as different as we are the exact same. And that's what we need more today. I don't, you know, it's one of those things I love making friends with people I don't agree with.
Me too. I
Uh,
say the same thing too. We talked about this the other day. I said I cannot. I said I would be so boring if everybody thought the same, talked the same, acted the same, looked the same. I love going back and forth with people I disagree with. Like it's like the days where like, well, let's agree to disagree have become like, you don't agree with me, I hope you die. And it's like, where did this
yeah.
come from? It shouldn't
It
be
would
like
be
that.
like the Borg from Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Exactly. And who wants? I don't want to.
Resistance is futile. Like, and then you
Yeah.
don't need to talk because you all you
Yeah.
don't need. There's no discussions. There's no nothing. You don't need to talk because you're all thinking the same thing.
Yeah. There's a great quote from the Dalai Lama. He said, when you talk, all you hear is everything you know. When you listen, you actually learn something. And it's so true. Some people don't want to listen. They'd rather just hear themselves talk. And they think that by them talking, they're going to convince you that you're wrong and I'm right. But I care less about that. Like whenever we get into arguments with somebody, not you and me, but other people, I'm like, we have so many things in common. Why do we even have to talk about this? Let's talk about all the things that we like.
I know. Yeah. Why are we arguing when
You know,
we could be talking about something that is like going to bring us together?
yeah, exactly. Like Ed Wood movies. And speaking of that, since it is getting later,
About that time.
what are some of your favorite scenes in
Okay.
the movie Ed
Okay.
Wood?
Yeah. So some of my favorite scenes, I love the one with the gas man guy where he's like, Edward just meets him. He gets the phone call. He has Sarah Jessica Parker, her character, pretend like he's her assistant or she's his
Oh
assistant,
yeah.
and then he gets there and he's eating the sandwich. I love that because like I don't know, like that type of guy, he seems like the type of guy that's like always eating a sandwich. And I only know that because I feel like the best delivery method for food is a goddamn sandwich. I'm obsessed with sandwiches. So, but the way he's just like such a he
Yeah.
doesn't care at all about movies.
Yeah.
The gas man guy. That's I forgot his name. I think
I
is it,
forgot his name too, but I know exactly what you're talking about because he goes,
yeah.
"What? Tell me why you're the most qualified to direct this movie." Well, and
Wow, wow.
he shows him the poster. He goes, "Here's the poster. Here's the name of the movie, and he has script in 2 days. I'll be back." And then,
You know what, Rich? We might have to do a part two to this one, so
yes,
we can actually get more into the scenes and things like that. I'm sorry. I hope that um only because there are so many scenes. And this has been me and you reconnecting,
yeah,
and things like that. I mean, I hope you don't mind. We can just call this
no,
part one, and then
yeah, that's
um
fine. I like I said, this is real talk, the therapy version, and then we'll have real talk.
Yes, yeah. We could call this if you want, we can call this Real Talk Edward like point five or something like that, where
I
it's
like
like
it.
because I always feel bad, man, because we always come in with a certain thing we want to talk about, and it always goes
No,
I
I
mean, it's
see.
like I don't feel bad necessarily about the conversation, but I feel bad about like I feel like there's so much more we could talk about Edward.
You're gonna
Uh,
see it soon. I just did a 7 hour interview. Well, it was in June, but it's coming out now. I'm breaking into pieces with Ernest Thomas, who played Raj in the TV show What's Happening, What's Happening Now, and he played an
like a single go through.
Yep, we with only one piss break, 7 hours, 6 hours, 6 hours and 48 minutes long to be exact. And
Oh my
but we
God.
just indeed, and I did not have 7 hours worth of questions.
Joe
It was just
Rogan eat your heart out. That
exactly.
that's insane. That is insane, man.
I
That
swear.
that is amazing. That is awesome, man.
Yep.
I mean I was gonna say I can't wait to see that. That's like
It's
that's
on
some
Patreon right now. If you, I
it
don't
is?
know,
Okay.
so if you, I don't know if you belong to it because I'm the
Is it
Patreon
Claude's
page.
Corner or is it
Well,
John's?
John's Patreon page. I know that he's ending it, but that still might be up there. But it's he put the full 7 hours up.
He's ending his Patreon?
Yeah, right now. So I think they like this last month was free for everybody that was a part of it. I'm not sure if you're a part of it.
Really?
Yeah, just because.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting.
but if you can see it, the whole 7 hours is there. I can even send the full interview to you. It's like because right now what I do is like broke it down to either 4 or 5 different parts, and I always ended it on a cliffhanger with me asking questions. What was your life changing event that happened to you in 1973? And all of a sudden, then bam, I would like hit stop and like for the next episode. So you're gonna see a lot because every time I hate when I do like two parters or like say I take one interview and I break it up. Nobody, the second part or the third part doesn't get as many views. So now I said this time I'm gonna end it at
Yeah.
cliffhanger because people. So,
Yeah.
but that the reason I bring this up is
Diminishing
that
returns.
that was the same exact thing as like he and I just started talking. I didn't have 7 hours worth of questions, but we just went on and on. It was so great because he had such a
Yeah, no, that's amazing because it's more like it's a lot of the experience.
yeah.
It's like
There it is. That's that's the book. So I read that book and just took all these different things, but then that led down so many different paths and so many different roads.
yeah, man, I'm sure. And then, well, what is that about? Is that just about his life?
Oh my God, yeah, he's got a very interesting life. And the best part is we talked about it, and I gotta see. He said he had this. He goes, man. He goes, I have a part for you. This thing I'm creating. I said, please. I said, I will fly wherever you want me to. He goes, all right. So I'm hoping that we do it, hoping it works out. But that was when we last spoke. He said he definitely goes, man, you would be great for. I said, I love doing things like that. So let's do it. He goes, all right.
Man, you know what? You know what I thought of, man. You know what we should do? Oh man, you should be a mad scientist, and Edgar should be like
Let's do it.
the Fritz, the Fritz. Edgar should be Fritz because that's really what, like, that's what Edgar was like based on. Like I was like with like the cloak and everything, and the way yes, master. Like that is like very much exactly who he is, and you would be the perfect mad scientist, man. We should do that. I'm gonna write something. I'm gonna
Yeah.
write something. We're gonna get
Let's do it.
together.
We got to make it happen. We definitely have to make it happen. Because
Absolutely.
that's the one thing I hate people that talk about things and never do it. But that's what I love about you, because like
I
you're
know.
like, Rich, I'm
I
gonna do
know,
it.
man.
No, you're not like that. Because
well,
I see so much content online, and that's why I'm using you as an example of like you're the exact opposite. You're like, Rich, let's do this, and then the next thing you know, I'm like, I get an email or text saying, Rich, we're gonna make
I'm
it happen.
man, like I'm serious, and it's funny because before I felt bad because I was like, yeah, man, I'm gonna start making videos and da da da, and like I didn't like a couple episodes, I didn't have anything done or whatever, so I always felt like I was becoming like that person or whatever. But I knew inside, I'm like, I'm gonna do it,
Yeah.
like I'm gonna do this. Like it's just getting the ideas down and getting the and the costume and all that stuff, but it's like I am, and I appreciate that you see that that
I
you see
definitely
that.
do, because I know so many people. They'll say, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna be doing. Can you help me with this podcast I'm doing?" I said, "All right," and then a month or two later, I never got to.
Well, no, and you know what, I guess what speaks to that was when we met and you were like, I need somebody to help me with
Yeah.
like could you like like do you know how to put my stuff on Spotify and stuff like that? And I'm like, no, but I would love to help you like figure that out. And like and I did, and like that, it it feels good to do that because I was like, what if what if I don't know how to do it? Like, what if I can't figure out how to do it and whatever? But I love problem solving. I love one of the things I love the most is running into a technical problem that can be solved, but it's like difficult. You know what I mean? Like I hate problems that you can't solve.
Yeah.
It's one it breaks my mind or whatever. But I love problems that like there is an answer out there. You just have to find it. And I love that. The same thing with like I paint now, and I never thought I would be a painter or whatever. But I've my boss is not. He's not the best leader. He's not the best. Like he doesn't have like direction or whatever. So learning that, I figured out like I keep things. I'm like, okay, if I have to go to a specific place to paint or whatever, I keep things in my lunchbox that I would need. That maybe you know because they just like throw things on you and then be like, "Oh, you got to do this," and I'm like, "Well, I don't have that thing," and then he's like, "Well, and then whatever," and then it's like figure it out, and I do, and it's weird because it feels like yeah, you shouldn't want to, that sucks or whatever, but the way I am, I'm like it's almost like what is it called, method acting,
Yeah.
where I'm like I like it. I like that weird struggle and I find that weird about me. I find it weird because I'm like people would hate this, people would despise this, and people do that work for him. But and I don't necessarily mean to disparage the guy or whatever, but he knows too. Um, but so yes, I am very weird. I love running. I love problems that can be fixed, but they're difficult.
Yep. I love that. And you,
I love
right,
struggle.
I love the fact that like John Bristol is great. He puts all my stuff on YouTube and then it was formerly Patreon, but I really do appreciate all the hard work he does putting this on the screen. And then you put it on Spotify, Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, Apple Music. So between the two of you, this can be heard pretty much anywhere. And I love the fact that I'm so appreciative for both of you. And I want to tell you before we go, I want to tell you like my favorite scene and why. But I also want to mention that John Bristol is he's the leader of Elmwood Productions. It's a production company he started. He makes horror movies and comedies and dramas with puppets. Very recently, he did his own version with puppets of Plan 9 from Outer Space. So please check it out. Check it out on the Elmwood website, Elmwood Productions. It's hilarious. It's just like the movie, but with puppets. You got to check it out.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm buying that as many times as I can. I'll buy it off the website, and if he ever does a DVD release,
Yeah.
signed DVD, I'm buying every one.
Yeah. Yeah. Check it out. And then my favorite
Not
scene.
right yet, though. Not immediately.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
No, so,
I just put that out there. I'm not a rich man.
I think right now you should be able to watch it for free until you get the signed
Really?
DVD. But yeah, you should go on to
Well,
his YouTube channel and subscribe. Everybody who's watching
I'll
it after you're done
Patreon. I'll
subscribing to
do.
this channel, subscribe to Elmwood Productions and Rob Bull's channel too.
Thank you. Yes, I'm Rob Bull. Rob Bull, and I have multiple channels because I have multiple personalities. No, okay, I go by Rob Bull. If you look up Rob Bull, Rob Bull will pop up, and Rob Bull Redacted,
All right.
which is just it's me with just a bar in front of my face. Like that is more of my comedic and content type comedic content and more content oriented things, where Rob Bull is more music, my music oriented stuff. So Rob Bull Redacted for comedy, Edgar, which is like a Fritz type character with an Australian accent. I don't know why it's Australian. It came to be. He's obsessed with beans. It's very self-deprecating. Uh, it's wonderfully wretched, as I like to explain it.
And everybody knows to do the Claws Corner. Just type in Rich Cyr, CYR, in the Claws Corner. But to leave this conversation off for until we get to part two, I think my favorite scenes are, and there's a reason why I like this, is that when he was going after a vampire. I said, "You got to be in my movie." She's like, "Get away from me! I don't want anything to do with you."
Yes,
She's
yes.
just so persistent, and because I go to different movie conventions, and I am just like that. I'm like, come on, you got to be in my show. You got to be in my show. And in the beginning, it was kind of tough, but now that I'm getting more and more people like, oh, this person did your show. I'll do it. If they did it, I'll do it. And then I'm getting more and more people. And I've actually had people. Somebody said, you know what? Just because you had the balls to come and ask me, I'm going to do your show. I said, all right. I mean, I didn't think it really took a lot. I said, I always say, what's the worst that's going to happen? They're going to say no. Then I walk away. It's not like they're going to go over and shoot me or something. I'm not going to, I'm going to walk away healthy. So it's not like I'm going to be injured. So I always say, it's like, what's the worst you're going to say? No. And so I ask them, and people think it's funny. Like, how can you go up to them and ask them? Aren't you nervous? I said, no, they're just people like me and you. And so I, I love that scene because he was so persistent, and he was able to get Bela Lugosi, he was able to get Vampira and all these different people into his movies by just saying,
By just, yes, by just being persistent and like and throughout time, because like at a certain point, Vampira was not making as much money, and things like that, and she was, yeah, and it's persistence is key, regardless of whether it is like what you're doing, whether you're trying to get people to join your movement or whatever, or in persistence in your creation, your movement, or whatever it is. Just stick with what is calling you. You know,
yeah.
stick with what is calling you, and maybe that one day you can die screaming. No, I'm sorry.
And I'm
But
not happy, you know.
but that's my, honestly, I've said that about myself too, where I'm like, man, I'm probably gonna, I'm gonna go out horribly, and then I'll, then people will be like, wow, fucking Edgar, Edgar was a shit, or something. But it's that,
Yeah. Well, that's
and I
funny.
wouldn't trade it for the world.
Well, that's why I laughed, because people are like, well, aren't you nervous what they're going to say? I said, First of all, no, I'm not. Second of all, if they get angry, that makes for an even better story." So if they start yelling at me, it's like, this is great. So I got screened up by a celebrity. I don't really care. Either way.
I got punched in the face by Russell Crowe. It's a badge of honor.
I know. I just I'd be hoping somebody would be taking a picture of me going.
Yeah.
It's like, hey,
You're the
I'd be like,
best.
Russell, they didn't get that. Can you punch me one more time?
Yeah, yeah. Get the other side. This is my good side. This is my Hollywood. This is my money side.
Exactly. That's my favorite scene in the movie. Just his persistence with Bela and Vampira, and just his passion. Actually, the whole movie is like one big of my favorite scenes, because like his passion and his fearlessness, as I mentioned in the intro, it's just that you really have to admire the guy. He may not be the most talented person in the world, but the fact that like he is doing what he wanted to do,
Yes,
and
yes, and yes, the fact that he loved what he did, and he gave it his all, and unfortunately, he wasn't able to see that
yeah,
he was right. Like in his belief, he was right, and that's one of the most tragic things I think for people, that like I don't want to say he's not a Kubrick, but he was great, and he's still talked about. He is inspirational,
oh,
you know.
exactly.
And one of my favorites is the ending, where it's we're gonna go off and we're gonna
Oh.
get married and da da da, and then it has the roll captions where it's like he died penniless, and
Yeah.
it's like yes, I'm like, man, that is like, you have nothing to lose if that's what you're aiming for. So aim for the. I want to say aim for the stars, but I guess that's contradicting what I just said. But at this, you know what I mean? Like, don't be afraid to
To fail.
be nothing while you're alive, because it might mean more when you're gone. And
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
that's like part of life is being dead. Most of part of life is
Yeah.
being dead,
Oh yeah.
unfortunately. And then that sounds very morbid, but
It's
there's something to that. Don't let life keep you from greatness. That, I don't know, that this sounds weird in a weird way, like don't let like, oh, but I could do this, but it's not the right time, or
yeah.
that kind of
Those are
thing.
the type of people, unfortunately, it'll never be the right time, because they're always going to find an excuse not to do it. And it's just, life goes way too quickly. So just there's nothing worse than like being 60 or not even 60. 60 is kind of young because I'm 57. So being like 80.
I know, man. I'm like 30. I'm 33, and I feel like I'm washed up. Like, like, and I'm talking to you, and I'm like, man, what? Like, I wish, man. Like, I wish but I do. It's one of those things where part of how I think is me. You know what I mean? And that's what keeps me going. That's why, if I was like, oh, it'll be good when I'm 50 or I'm 60 or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like a part of what pushes me to do whatever I do as much. It's not a quarter as much as like what you do. And, but, and that's not a jab on me. It's not a dig on you.
Yeah.
It's people operate differently. People
Exactly.
have, different fuses and stuff. And even for me, like there's people around me that I feel like I haven't done much or done anything in my life or whatever. And there's people who look at me and see that. And I feel, I'm like, those people, I'm like, but I feel that too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like you got to step back. You got to get away from those negative thoughts and just try to be positive. That's as easy as that sounds. It's not easy. It takes work. It takes discipline, but it's doable.
That is the best way to end this show. Thank you very much for being on the show, Rob. That was Edward D. Wood, 0.5. Real Talk, the therapy edition. So I hope everybody got something out of this. You got to watch Ed Wood, the movie, directed by Tim Burton, starring Johnny Depp, Martin Landau, Vincent D'Onofrio, so many other people. But also, once you do that, check out his real movies, Glenn or Glenda, Bride of the Monster, of course, Plan 9 from Outer Space, and there's so many other ones. It was so great having you on the show, Rob. We're definitely going to have to do part 2 very, very soon. And before we go, I know you talked about your YouTube channel. Is there anything else that you want to plug? Like what's next for you? Where can people find you?
I just wish the best for the world. I just the one thing I want to plug is humanity. We need to stop division and we need to come together, and that's it.
That is, you know what? I thought the last one was the best way to end the show, but this is even better. It's almost like watching the movie Ed Wood. Just when you think it's over, there's another ending. It's perfect. But this one, you don't die penniless. You leave with a great message.
Nope. I got a couple pennies.
You leave with a great message. So
Yes.
I cannot agree with you more. As we're recording this, there's so much things going on in the world. We don't need this much division. People, for the most part, all have the same needs, same wants. We can all get along. It doesn't have to be this divisive. So until next time, well, that wraps up the latest episode of Real Talk. A huge thanks goes out to musician, digital creator, writer, and friend, Rob Bull, for taking time out of his extremely busy schedule to be a guest on my show. Thank you very much. I also need to thank editor extraordinaire John Bristol, the award-winning Elmwood Productions. Remember, check out Plan 9 from Outer Space. Subscribe to his YouTube channel for always doing a superb job editing the show each and every week and making it available to all on YouTube. I am also extremely grateful to Rob Bull, the one and only right here, and Al Coles, another great friend, who for all they do to make my show available on Spotify, Amazon Music, Audible, Apple Music, iHeartRadio, as well as a cable station in Connecticut. And lastly, but definitely not least, I need to thank you, the viewer, for always tuning in. Enjoy your day, everyone.
You know, sometimes things don't go as planned.
Because you of Earth are dummy brains.
Aliens.
This is Eros. We've been trying to contact you about your planet's extended warranty.
Aliens.
Is it weird to dance naked under the full moon?
You sounded drunk.
No, not drunk.
Eros, do we have to kill them?
You fiend! And what plan will you follow now?
Plan 9.
What are we doing out here?
They don't tell me nothing, no how. There is nothing scarier than the future.